Very well, how are you?
Yeah, not so bad. Listen, well done at the match at the weekend and the result. We were just talking to Robin there about Leinster's unusual start to the season. So at this stage, normally there's a good block behind, a good solid block of URC matches. You're getting up and running. Um, is there any positives to be taken from your stuttering start this season in relation to your overall goal of winning Europe? That it's maybe better that some of your issues are apparent now than coming later in the end of the season when there's less time to fix them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've fallen short in the last few years in Europe and a lot of the big games in particular. But a lot of the times we get to that stage of the year and we haven't lost many games, and you learn a lot about yourself when you're not winning big matches. So it's definitely been a harder start to the year, and there's other upsides as well, like to probably getting a younger cohort of lads out there to play, especially the first those first few games in South Africa. I know wasn't ideal, and the first performance was tough going, but it's never bad when lads are gaining experience and finding out what's required of them to play at this level. So look, it hasn't been ideal, but you can't have it always your own way. And if once we take the lessons from it going forward, then we'll be all right. And then you look back and think, right, well, that was worth it in the end. But if it comes to the latter stages of the seasons and we fall short again, you'll be disappointed. But it's magic 8 ball stuff at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. What does it do for a team preparation? You know when you're facing a fully loaded team like you probably will be on Friday night. But what's the opposite when you see that maybe teams like Harlequins have left a lot of their frontliners behind? How does that affect the mental preparation for you guys?
Well, you try not to let it affect you at all because it's never about them. It's always about us and how we want to perform. And it's when you're playing against a team like that and they've rested a lot of people. To some degree, they've got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Because then they'll turn around and say, "Oh, look, we didn't have everyone playing, and weren't they expected to win?" So they've got nothing to lose, and that can be a very difficult and dangerous situation for us because then they can afford to throw the kitchen sink at you and maybe make riskier plays or try playing a different way. So credit to Harlequins. I know they obviously had a lot of lads resting, but they're still a quality team, and they got a lot of purchase and joy out of going after our own ball in the ruck and stuff, which was pretty frustrating on our end because that's things that we can control. So it's a good start for us. If you'd asked us before if you've got 5 points at home and win, you take it absolutely. So it's a good stepping stone now going forward. But we know it'll be a tougher opposition this week over in Welford Road or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, I think Tigers are really going to be maybe just so at Bath, what the Bath match against Munster looked like at the weekend, and probably say we'd like a bit of this. For your team, would you rather have a real battle on Friday night? If I offered you 28-0 now, or if I offered you, 10-7 to Leinster, never mind the bonus.
How have we performed in the 28 nil?
Yeah, 3 late tries.
Look, it doesn't matter. It's all about the performance. It's not about the results. We're trying to forget outcomes here and just worry about the process and the detail of how we want to play the game. But it does stand to you when you play in those kind of nichey kind of games where it's tight and you learn a lot about yourself and you got to dig deep for each other. So look, whether it's 10-7 or no matter how it ends up to be, once we're putting in a good performance, we're happy and we're digging deep for each other to make sure that we're showing the best of ourselves. That's all that really matters.
Super, Jack. Best of luck. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Jack, Justin Tracy. Jack, the overall, I suppose, sense of how Leinster have started that international window for Ireland, there is a little bit of panic in the wider public, if I can put it like that. Would you move to assure people that it's too early to be panicking here, folks? What would your general message to a wider rugby audience here be, Jack?
Yeah, I don't think there's any case for panic. There's still unbelievable quality here in Leinster and across the country in the other 3 provinces. You're playing against good opposition, teams that are highly motivated and like ourselves, always trying to get better. So, especially on the international stage, you're never going to have it your own way. And I know that some of the results and performances weren't exactly what we wanted, but that's life in international rugby, and it's the same here in Leinster, where we probably haven't hit our straps consistently. There's been great parts in certain games, but you're probably looking now saying we haven't really performed fully. So the onus is on us as a players is to make sure we're better and we're putting those pieces together and searching for that 80-minute performance, because we haven't gotten it yet. But I wouldn't say it's time for panic.
What would you put the lack of an 80-minute performance down to? Is it hunger? Is it inaccuracies? What do you actually think it is, Jack?
Well, it's human nature to make mistakes, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? No matter what line of work you're in. So I'm sure even you lads spell the odd word wrong or get some of the syntax wrong. But we make mistakes as well. And look, we're playing against good opposition, and it's definitely in the former part of the campaign. You know, a lot of younger lads playing. You know, they're still learning their craft and trying to get better. And even the same for us lads who are a bit more established, that we're always looking to get better as well. But you know, we played good teams so far, and you know, they've challenged in different areas, and we're just seeking to improve. So it hasn't come yet, but it will come at some stage. You know, you keep on knocking down that door, you keep on striving for perfection, even though, you know, realistically you're never going to get there. But that's the cherry on the cake, or whatever, the icing on the cake. So that's what we're going to keep on going for. And like I said, there's been bits of our game that have been really good, little bits that we're disappointed in, but there's no need for massive overhaul. It's just fine tuning and putting importance in certain areas in comparison to you know, as the weeks go by, you focus on different areas, and it's just important that we don't have to go back and take a learning that we've already taken from this season. Once we're pushed in the right direction, that's all that matters.
Final quick point from me, considering it's Champions Cup week, is the desire, the hunger for this competition within the club what it's always been, considering the disappointments of recent years and times? Yeah,
absolutely. You know, look, obviously it's been a long time since we've gotten over the line, but you know, we've been unbelievably consistent over the last few years in Europe, and I know it'll be a lot of people who say, oh sure, that doesn't matter, you know, you haven't won it and blah blah blah, but it's not actually an easy competition to win. You know, the quality and the strength of the opposition and the teams playing is only getting better, and I know we fell even short a little bit last year, losing to Northampton, and more so maybe the performance that we put out on that day was the disappointing bit, not the actual outcome. But you know, there's so much quality here as a playing cohort, staff, coaches, backroom staff, everyone, that you know, that hunger's still there, and we're eager to get back on top.